Welcome to the Sunbelt Syndicate. I'm your host, Zach. I'm here with Troy head coach Scott Cross. First of all, Coach, thanks for joining me. And how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
First thing I got to say is Thomas Dowd's hair. Last time we had him on the show before the Kentucky game, and he was there was some type of like bet going on where like if he made the tournament, he might have had to cut his hair, but he didn't know if he was going to follow through with it, and obviously he didn't. So I got to get your thoughts on his hair.
Yeah, I mean, my hair and his hair is about as far apart as you could possibly get. But I think the one thing in common is we both, pride ourselves in being tough individuals. And he's definitely one of the toughest guys I've ever coached, regardless of him wearing a man bun or whatever, or headband or whatever else he's got going on. But he's a very, very tough player with a extremely high motor.
Just going into that Kentucky game, what was it like playing in March Madness against a really good Kentucky team?
Yeah, it was surreal, getting back to the tournament. It had been so long since I'd been there. It was a great experience. Obviously, Kentucky's super, super talented. They were playing really good basketball at the time. I thought, defensively, we probably did well. Offensively, we struggled. We didn't move the ball as good as we normally had done. And, we had kind of accomplished our goal of getting there. And then, we just didn't have the same level of selflessness in that game that I would have hoped. But, I was so proud of our guys for what they had done throughout the year. But I still think, from a defensive side of it and rebounding, I thought we were very, very competitive with them.
Yeah, so looking at that team, obviously this year, to an extent, is a lot different, especially in the starting lineup.
Yeah, we are very different. Though we lost 4 guys that were starters. 3 of them were high level defenders, and that's what we'll miss the most, I would say, is just, their defensive abilities and, Jackson Fields' ability to change the game with blocking shots and guarding the pick and roll. Tatum was just a steal waiting to happen, could read plays and just come up with get a deflection or a loose ball when you needed it the most. And Miles Rigsby was just, super, super tough and physical, guarding the ball and fighting through screens. And, Marcus was he was a long athletic defender as well. And so we'll miss that side of it. We're going to have to make up for it in other areas. I mean, we'll be different this year, but I like our group and think it's a group that's going to continue to get better as the season progresses.
I mean, but if you look at this year's roster, it's a lot of the same guys. You bring in a couple of freshmen and just a few transfers, but it's a lot of the same guys. You kind of instill a culture where it's kind of like next man up. People want to stay, and you develop guys. What is it like building a culture like that?
Well, I think the development piece is the biggest piece. My staff does a phenomenal job with that. I value it a lot, but it's those guys that are doing it every single day. They did a great job last year. I think, that's why we were playing our best basketball late in the season, is because they're constantly working with those guys and getting them better. And, every time somebody can shoot it better, dribble it better, pass it better, is more fundamental, we become a better basketball team. And so, we kind of, that's priority number one for us, is getting our guys better. I feel like the staff this year that we have in place is even taking it another step forward. We've, the guy that trains Damian Lillard, Phil Beckner, is a guy that's, he kind of mentors our staff. He's been a huge help, with us developing our player development philosophy and putting it all together. And I think this is the highest level that we've ever had it at. I think we're even better this year at it. And, again, it goes back to the staff that I have. I mean, they're constantly, showing guys film. They're in the gym, rebounding for them. They're working with them on ball handling, passing, shooting, footwork, finishing. And so that you can see it, like even in practice, like since we've been here June 1st to where we are right now, you can see the growth in these guys. And so, hopefully by March, the guys are even better and we're playing our best basketball at that time.
Also, just looking at this year's roster as well. Like I said, you lost 4 starters, but I assume Thomas has kind of stepped up as a leader. Has there been anyone else that's kind of stepped up as a leader as well?
Yeah, I mean, Cooper is our point guard, does a great job running the show, and a phenomenal player, tough, gritty, physical, can shoot it. He's going to be a 3-to-1 assist to turnover guy. Carrington Keel's another guy that's a great leader for us. He's vocal as well as lead by example. So I would say, those 3 guys would be the first 3 to come to mind. But, I think everybody at a certain point in time does step up and lead us, whether it's by example or through their words. And, the more leaders we have, the better we're going to be. That's the kind of culture we want. We want guys to step up. We don't want guys just, feeling like they can't, step up and lead when the time is right. And so we want to develop each of these guys to be able to lead when the timing is right. So I think we've got a great group, and they're all working extremely hard. They're all getting in the gym. They're all putting in the time that it takes to be a champion.
Looking at the exhibition against Georgia, looks like Kobe stepped up and had a big game. What have you seen with him over the last year? Because he didn't play last year, but what have you seen with him?
Yeah, he had hip surgery last year, and so he had a red shirt. We knew he was going to be similar to Cooper, just the left-handed version. He can really, really shoot the basketball. He's smart. He knows how to play. He can create shots for the rest of the team. And excuse me, he got it going against Georgia. He was the only guy on our team that really got hot, and he got it going. And, it would have been nice if we had, 1 or 2 more guys get it going. And then I think we could have made a run for it. But, a lot of credit goes to Georgia. They're long, they're athletic, they're tough. They defend really, really well. And they made us uncomfortable with their pressure. But this was our first experience being, in enemy territory with fans there and playing against, guys that are, bigger, stronger, faster. And, I thought the game was competitive. It ended up being 16 points, but, we had it, I believe, like 6 or 8 points with, 10 minutes to go. And then it got away from us a little bit. But like I said, this team's going to get better. And that was a great opportunity to experience some adversity and, see how we respond to it. And there were a lot of learning lessons from the game.
Yeah, just looking at your guys' schedule, you got Kent State, Furman, USC, Toledo, a bunch of tournament caliber teams. What do you want to see from your team, and what do you think you'll learn playing these teams?
Well, we're going to learn how we fare as being an underdog, because every one of those games that you mentioned will be an underdog going into them, but that's okay. We've been there before. I want our guys to kind of have an underdog mentality and go out there and know that they're going to have to be tougher and play harder in order to have a chance of success. This will teach us how to play on the road, how to win on the road. It's not easy doing that, so we're going to get about as big of a dose of it as you possibly can in non-conference play against really, really good basketball teams. All those teams that you mentioned could arguably come in and be 1, 2, or 3 in the sunbelt conference. So it'd be like playing, the best teams in the league, and we're going to get to do it, 8 times, 9 times before we play a sunbelt game. So we should definitely be very, very prepared for the conference.
Yeah, and just looking at the conference, I feel like this year especially is just completely wide open. Like I was kind of just looking through 1 through 14, and almost all of them are just interchangeable. So what are your thoughts about that? I know you haven't looked much into it yet, but
yeah, I agree 100%. It's so hard to tell with the number of guys that leave and transfer, and then the number of transfers that come in. And I know one thing: the coaches in this league do a great job recruiting. The rosters are going to be somewhat similar, I would say. Come conference time, I felt like Arkansas State maybe had a little bit more talent than maybe some of the other teams, but outside of them, you flip a coin and everybody's right there. so it's really who comes together, who's the toughest, who plays the best in March. That's probably the team that's going to come out on top. But yeah, there's nobody in this league that you can look at and say, oh, that's a win. We can just go in there. In fact, we saw it last year. Fortunately for us and unfortunately for South, they were, in the lead and kind of had it going. And then they lost twice to Monroe, who was in last place at the time. And so, and then, Texas State beat James Madison there at the end of the year. And that's why there was a 4-way tie for the conference championship. But yeah, I would agree. This league, 1 through 14 has the ability to win it. You better be ready to play every single night. If you're not, you're probably going to come up short.
Just big picture, what do you think your team has to do to get back to the top of the conference?
Defend at a similar level as we did last year. If we can get our defensive level to that same level as last year, I think we'll be right there, with a chance to win a championship. So that's what we're striving for. That's what we're working for every day in practice. We may have to do it a different way, but it can be done, and guys just have to be locked in and committed to doing it. And I think we're going to continue to get better defensively each and every day. And, like I said, we want to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. We're not there yet, but hopefully we'll continue to get better.
And just one last question. We had Coach Dustin Kearns on the show a few nights ago, and we asked him what his favorite restaurant in Boone was. And he came back and he gave us a few options, and then he gave us an option in Troy. So I want your best restaurant in Troy, and then I'll tell you what his answer was.
I'm saying his answer was Sisters. I would say my 2 go-to spots in Troy. Now there's so many of them, but obviously I got to put Waffle House first. If I didn't, I wouldn't be true. But then, 2 kind of outliers are, Hook's Barbecue, which is phenomenal. And then Ricky's Tacos is another one that's really, really good. I can't leave out Baumhauer's either. I guess I could keep going and going, but there's definitely some underrated places here in Troy, Alabama. But yeah, tell me what Coach Kern said, because he is a good friend of mine. I got a ton of respect for him. We share the same slogan. So what is his favorite restaurant?
He said B. Graves.
No doubt. If you're going for an upper end, like if you're going for the nice restaurant and want to sit down, yes, without a doubt. Their ribeye is phenomenal. In fact, me and my wife, and then the baseball coach, Skylar Mead, and his wife, we go about once every 3 months. We have a get together, and we always go to B. Graves. So yeah, excellent choice. I didn't know Coach Kearns was that uppity though, and he was going to the fanciest places in Troy.
Yeah, he was pretty excited when he gave us that answer. He made sure to get the name of it right and everything.
Yeah, I thought he might be more of Ricky's Tacos or Waffle House type of guy, but I'm gonna have to get on him. I didn't know he had that expensive taste.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me here today. And good luck on the season.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yep, you too. Last time we had you on the show, you mentioned something about a bet where you were considering cutting your hair, and now you come back on the show and it's longer than mine. So what's going on?
Yeah, the hair never ended up getting cut. I'm actually probably gonna grow it out the whole season. I thought it'd be fun to grow it out. So
it's gonna get pretty long.
Yeah, it's up there. It's getting pretty long, but I'm rocking a man bun right now. I kind of like it. So I'll probably grow it out the whole season.
Yeah. So last time we had you on, it was right before the Kentucky game. Now you played them. What was that experience like?
Yeah. Just the whole March Madness experience was, great. Obviously, it's what every, basketball player dreams of growing up, just going to March Madness. It was definitely a learning experience. I didn't have my best game. And I was pretty down on myself for a little bit. after that game just because, you finally got there. I didn't feel like I played great. I felt like, it just felt like the Kentucky guys were on a, different level than me. And I was like, because, I thought I'd been playing good. I'd done well in the sunbelt tournament. And then it was kind of just a reality check when we played them. I had 0. I was like 0 for 7 from the field. But, I think I did a really good job of using that this offseason to be like, all right, I wasn't good enough then. What can I take from that game and work on so, I don't have to experience that again. And, if we do go back to March Madness, which I think we have a real shot of, I'll be better prepared this time.
Yeah, so like we just talked with Coach, he lost 4 starters this year. So how has your role changed, and what do you think you've changed in your game, both on and off the court?
Yeah, 4 really good players. Lost them to the portal. I'm the only starter returner and whatnot, but we've got a lot of other really good players stepping into the starting lineup. But I think my role has just changed. I'm more of a leader now. Definitely have the ball in my hands a little more, and more trust from coaches, more trust from teammates, more trust to be a little bit more of a playmaker, make plays for the team instead of other people making plays for me. But I mean, it's really easy with the team we have this year to step into a bigger role because everyone's so selfless with the ball. We move the ball really well. No one's like forcing hunting shots. And so, I guess just what looks a little bit different is I think I really worked a lot on like being able to make a play for myself off the dribble. I've gotten a lot better. Finishing at the rim, I've gotten a lot better. Just things like that. I feel like last year, obviously it's not a bad thing, but I relied a lot on my teammates for like what I did in the game. And I think this year I'll be a lot better at being able to produce for myself a little bit more and produce for my teammates as well.
Yes. So what has Coach been stressing to like you? Maybe not necessarily you, but to the team as well this offseason?
Yeah. I'd say just really been stressing being a really together team. Like especially on, Coach Cross is a defense guru. So really just, toughness and grit on the defensive end, but really connectiveness and communication as well. Because, I mean, we're not as athletic as last year. We've got some guys coming off the bench that are really good athletes, but the core of our guys were just not as athletic as last year. So on defense, we're going to have to rely a lot more on just communication and good principles and whatnot. So he's really been stressing that a lot, but I think we've received it well. Me personally, he's just been harping, just continuing to kind of grow as a leader, be a leader of the team, be the voice of the team. Yeah, I mean.
So there's not a lot of newcomers. I mean, there is, but compared to a lot of teams in the conference, there isn't. Have any of those guys jumped out to you in specific?
Yeah, we got Javier is a guy coming in from Canada, but he's having a redshirt this year. So I would say him because he's been really good, but he's redshirting. Corbin Green from Texas Tech. He's still getting a little situated with like our system and whatnot, and really getting bought into like what our principles are on defense and whatnot. But I mean, since we've done our scrimmages and our exhibition, I think he's really starting to come along because he's probably one of the most athletic people I've ever played with. So if he's in the right headspace and playing as hard as he can, he's a really, really strong addition for us. And then our 2 freshmen, Javen and Eman, they're really coming along as well. Every freshman kind of goes through it. You play your first exhibition against Georgia. It's your first time playing against other college athletes, first time playing in front of a crowd in college. So, they were definitely a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like not spooked, but just like big-eyed, a little nervous maybe. But I think, that was a really good experience for them. And I think in practice the past week, they've both been really good. So I think they'll be able to bring a little bit for us as well.
Yeah, so I also mentioned this with Coach Cross. You guys play a lot of like tournament caliber teams: Kent State, Toledo, Furman, USC, UAB. He told me what he wants to learn from his team, just learning how to play as underdogs, defense. What do you want to see from you and the team as well?
Yeah, I think we just gotta. I think it's going to be a real test of our toughness and our grit and our just willingness to do something. We're on the road a ton. Like yesterday, I was handing out my excuses to my teachers. Like we're not going to be in class for like a month because we're going to be traveling on the road and playing on the road. And so I just think, man, I'm drawing a blank right now. Yeah, I just think, we really need to see where we are as a team as far as our toughness and our grit, because we're not gonna get calls on the road. We're gonna be playing really good, high caliber teams. So yeah, I mean, I know I've said it like 4 times already, but everything Coach Cross does and harps and wants our team to be is tough. We have like a street dog where we call ourselves that, like when we play road games and whatnot. And, we were definitely street dogs last year, but I want our team to prove, and I think we will prove that, we're just as resilient and tough on the road this year.
Yeah. Also, and then obviously going to conference play, tough conference, pretty unpredictable this year. Like I told Coach, 1 through 14 are pretty much interchangeable. What are just you've played in the conference for a few years now? Just what are your thoughts on the play in this conference?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of what Coach Cross was saying, and I agree. He was saying, like, you look at all the teams and they're I probably haven't looked at it as much as him, but I try to keep up, see like who's where, who's transferring, who's coming in and whatnot. You look at the teams, and as far as talent goes, it's pretty interchangeable throughout the conference. Like not one team just has way more talent than the other team. So I think it comes down to the team's just togetherness and their core principles. And that's where I get really excited, because I know us with Coach Cross, we have a very like set team identity. Like we know what we're going to do and we know how we're supposed to do it. It's just a matter of if we execute or not. And, like he was saying, if we can really figure it out on the defensive end to the point that we did last year, I think we got a really good shot at an exciting season.
Yeah, and looking at the roster, I mentioned to Coach as well, Kobe had a big game against Georgia. Obviously didn't play last year because of injury. What have you seen? What have you seen from him this offseason?
I mean, I already knew this, but he just shoots the lights out of the ball. Just like you can't give him any space to shoot. And he got hot against Georgia, and if he doesn't get hot against Georgia, like I don't even know if that game is competitive. But he really stepped up for us big time in that game. And he's continuing to get a lot better on defense. He's really trying hard to work on that, every day in practice. But I mean, when you have a guy out there on the court that can bring so much attention as a shooter when he gets hot, not only does it bring you like his shooting ability, but it opens the court up for, other people, because so much attention is on him that it just makes the offense a lot easier to run and play.
He also said his brother Cooper and Carrington have been big leaders along with you. Just what have you seen from them from the leader aspect?
Yeah, I mean, Cooper's our point guard. So he's just been very, vocal in that aspect. Getting us organized, running the offense. But more important than running the offense, he runs the offense very poised. It's very hard to like pressure him or make him panic with the ball. And that's something that just holds a lot of value with this team like this year. And then Carrington has just been a huge vocal leader and on the court. He's just on defense really is what stands out to me. Just very, very communicative. Always not afraid to get on to guys, when they mess up or do something wrong, but he doesn't do it in a way that's like, demeaning or degrading. He does it in a way that's like constructive criticism, like helping this guy out, maybe if it's one of the freshmen or whatnot, helping them out, helping them figure out what they need to do on defense. But doing it in a way that's, you got to respect him about it, but he's also not demeaning you. And then even off the court, just, things outside of the court, when it comes to, team events we got to do, things we got to do in the weight room, things like that. He's just super vocal about, keeping the team organized, keeping the team together, letting everyone know what time things are at and whatnot. So he's taken a huge step as a leader on this team as well.
Yeah, so don't want to hold you up too much longer. So I got a few more.
Good.
When fans come out to see Troy, what do you want them to see? Like, how do you want to play? How do you want them to see this team?
I think I want them to be excited to watch us play. We're going to try to play a lot faster on offense this year. We played kind of slow on offense last year. Didn't score a ton of points. I want them to be excited to see a really fun team play basketball. And then, I also want them to see what they've seen on defense for the past 3 years as well. Just a tough, gritty team who can also play really fun basketball on offense.
Okay, yeah. And finally, what are you personally most looking forward to for the season?
I'm really just excited to play someone else other than my teammates. It gets to a point, where like tensions are rising, the season's about to start, but you're still just having to play your teammates in practice. And everyone kind of like we all know like what offense we're running. We all know what defense we're running. We all know like what moves and tendencies certain guys have. So I think we're all just ready to play someone else other than ourselves. Like after the exhibition against Georgia, literally the next day we were like, can we just go ahead and play Kent State? Like we're tired of playing each other. So I'm just really excited to get the season started. I'm really excited to try to I feel like I worked really hard this off season on my game, and I'm really excited to see that pay off when the season starts as well.
Yeah. So, like I said, that was the last one. So, good luck on the season. Thanks for joining me. I'm sure you'll be back on sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thanks for joining, and good luck on the year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too.